Hey guys, here I have a battle against Crimson, a very good battle in fact, lots of prediction on both players, a very long battle, but after being condensed, it's still at times 2, it's still over the 8 minutes that I tried to aim for, so sorry about that. I'm trying not to hesitate during this battle since I got feedback that I say too much, so I'm going to try and stop that. Anyway, we both lead with dragon types. I'm Scarf, he knows that, most likely that's why he switches. My Draco Meteor still misses on that Notori, and probably wouldn't have done too much, but as you'll see later in the game, any sort of damage on Notori is useful due to its base 130 defenses. Any damage to take out such a great wall is useful. Predicting a fire move, he goes into his Garchomp, which my Fire Blast from Salamence also misses. And predicting an Earthquake, predicting for him to over-predict me to going to my Steelix, I go into Gyarados, but he predicts that going for the Outrage, I switch into Steelix. Attempting to take that Outrage, I take it very well. Fortunately for him, he only gets 2 turns of Outrage, meaning that he can switch out into Mew. I predict his switch out from Mew after we both set up the Stealth Rocks. So I go for the Dragon Tail, but then it brings it back into Mew. I did that because for scouting purposes, but fortunately for him, he gets put back into Mew, so I don't get any scouting, and I get very little Stealth Rock damage. I know he's probably going to go for the scouting move now, so I'm just going to go for the Earthquake to get as much damage as I can on the Mew. Fortunately here I get to go into Sazendora. He predicts me not to go for the Dark Pulse, which would have probably taken it out, since that Flamethrower did about quarter times 2 and stab probably would have taken it out. He predicts me to predict him to go into the Notori, and so stays in the soft builds and goes for the Dragon Tail. But fortunately for me, I get drawn into my Zorok, and a Banded Pursuit while switching is 40, plus stab is 60, plus Banded is 90 times 2, because he's switching out, and it's super effective, is an insane overkill, which is fantastic. I'm locked into it though, so I have to switch out, go into Gyarados. It would have been more useful if I had the Intimidate ability rather than the Moxie ability, which raises my attack once I take out a Pokemon. Intimidate would have made this Rapushin be on neutral now. And sorry for using the Japanese names, not the English names. I will use the English names once it is out. And speaking about the English version, I have a bit of information about that at the end of the video. So if you want to stay till there, you are more than welcome. I go into Salamence after my Gyarados dies because Salamence is the most powerful move Pokemon that I can use against this Rapushin that can take a Mach Punch. Fortunately for him, he gets a crit even at neutral damage. I don't think it would have taken me out. Payback, even though it is times 2, Salamence is pretty good bulk. And even though Rapushin has base 140 attack, I don't think it would be able to take me out, since this Mach Punch at base 120 isn't able to take out a Zorok, which is relatively fragile, but 2 of my Banded Sucker Punches are, which is great for me. He goes into Garchomp here. Don't know why. He could probably have gone, as you'll see, into a Spiritomb, which he has. Taken the Sucker Punch much better. But it's all good for me. The Sucker Punch is able to do over half damage, which is nice. And here he predicts me, predicting him to predict probably, or maybe wanting to scout, maybe wanting for me to go for the Dragon Pulse, and so he can go to Notori safely. But this way he can go into another Pokemon safely. And there's no point keeping Garchomp alive, since I do fortunately get that burn. Goes into the Spiritomb I was talking about now. I can't do much with a Flamethrower. I'm not Specs, I'm Scarfed, and even with base 125 special attack, it's not going to be doing too much after no stab or anything like that. Going to my Steelix, which is on relatively good health, and this team is for KwandaoRen66's tournament. I didn't mention that. It was the 3rd round, I believe. I'm using a Yu-Gi-Oh! Based team, which you may have seen before in a previous battle. The team was not really built perfectly, and so I have 2 ground steel types, which obviously means that my type coverage offensively and defensively isn't the greatest. I know Steelix can wall his Spiritomb pretty well. That hidden power, even though super effective, doesn't do too much since I'm max special defense, max hit points. So, yeah, that's about it. Then Torre is just a pain in the ass to take out at the moment. It's just walling my whole team. My Salamence is now down, so my Fire Blast can't take it out, and all I have is Sazandora as a super effective move, able to take it out. Here, I make a good play, predicting him after scouting that I have the Flamethrower, using the Protect, locking myself into Flamethrower, predicting him to go into Latios, so go into Dorayuzu, who has the super effective X-Scissor and Scarf, but he predicts me being Scarf because I wouldn't go into my Latios, my Dorayuzu into his Latios for any other possible reason. So that is what happens. He's a very good predictor, outplays me, or not really outplays me, but we both play very, very well, I would say. Both predicting, over-predicting, even predicting over that second extra layer of prediction. But his team is built much more efficiently and better than mine, and therefore I am in the relatively slightly worse situation. Stealth Rock are up for both of us, so both of our switches are limited, but his guys are on a much more decent health than mine. I need to get as max damage on this Notori as possible, as I've mentioned several times before. I go for the Earthquake just to get that extra damage, but due to Leech Seed leftovers and his Protect stalling, he is gaining more hit points than my Earthquakes are ever going to do. Here, predicting him to over-predict and go for the Leech Seed, I go for the Dragon Tail, and I want this Steelix to die as soon as possible. It's becoming more of a hindrance rather than something that can help me. So the Leech Seed is recovering the Latios' health, and here I don't really care anymore, and I go for Dragon Tail. Well, I don't care about the Steelix, I care about the battle, of course. I go for Dragon Tail, and I get into he gets dragged in Spiritomb. I would have preferred him to go into the Latios, since Leech Seed would have caused me to faint, or the Steelix to faint, allowing me to go into my Sazandora, Draco Meteor. Even if he switched to Notori, 2 Draco Meteors would have taken it out, and it would have put me in a better situation. But this isn't too bad. I go for the Draco Meteor. Unfortunately, it lives on a slither of hit points and is easily able to take me out with a hidden power, fighting at this health. I have 1 guy left. He has 3. Though they are 2 are relatively at low health, and Latios will die to a Scarfed X-Scissor, most likely. I can't get past this Torre. It has completely driven my team into a wall. I didn't have any fighting type to take him out, and this shows Notori's power. Even though it doesn't have any recovery, excluding Leech Seed, of course, it is able to take hits well. It's a necessity for any stalling or any defensive team. It can set up Stealth Rock if needed, set up Spikes if needed, Leech Seed to annoy, Gyro Ball and Power Whip are good sources of damage too. So I hope you enjoyed the battle. Comment, rate, subscribe, of course. Please tell me how I can improve. I like reading comments too on anything really. If there's criticism, I take it and change the way I will do my narrations in the future. Yeah, anyway, hope you enjoyed the battle. And just in the description, I will put the English ROM. It has been leaked, the English game description on where to get it. Well, a tutorial on YouTube on how to get it. It's a very useful tutorial. I've got it. The EXP game works perfectly. It didn't work perfectly yesterday, but it does work perfectly now. So if you want to play the game on Ace card or emulating on your computer, it's the perfect way to do it. I will buy the game anyway, the proper version, but that's irrelevant. I hope to see you in the future.